Hi there, everyone. Tonight, talking about the Christmas holidays, having some cheer. Hopefully, Omicron is putting a damper on all of that, but a little bit of cheer, staying safe in the wintertime, driving in the snow, and getting home to your family and having just an awesome, awesome Christmas. Stick around. We'll be right back with that information. Welcome back. Tim is here with Drive Smart BC. Tim has an excellent website about driving in the province of British Columbia, anything to do with roads, court cases, and an excellent forum over there to have a discussion about things that you are concerned about in terms of driving, better roads, and those types of things, especially right now as we're trying to put some of the province back together, our main highway through to the coast, due to floods and those types of things. And of course, we've had an interesting year in terms of floods and forest fires, so we're cleaning up from that still. And Evan is here, David is here, Mallory is here, Corey is here. Excuse me. Corey is the moderator. Bricks for Wheels does an excellent job of getting up new videos that I suggest that you have a better look at. Have a look at for more detail. Tim is here from Winnipeg. I'm sure it's toasty cold in Winnipeg. It's going to get cold here too where I live. It's supposed to go down to -10, which is like I don't know, it's in 15 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's going to get cold. Merry Christmas to everybody with Christmas coming up next weekend. And awesome time of the year. It was interesting, kind of a flippant comment. Yesterday I was with my girlfriend and we were talking about the year and watching news and listening to all of the doom and gloom that's going on with Omicron, and just, kind of brings you down. She says, oh, it's been kind of a crappy year. It has been kind of a crappy year. But personally, myself, I've had just an absolutely awesome year. It's been a good year for me, good year for Smart Drive Test, good year for helping out everybody, smart drivers, getting licenses and those types of things. And, that's the other thing we can talk about tonight. If you're tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from, and let us know as well, your wins and successes this year, because this is what Smart Drive Test is about. It's about helping people achieve success and getting their license, maybe getting their license and starting a new job and moving on with better employment, better pay, helping their families and those types of things. So achievement, empowerment, success, that's what we're about here. So, let us know in the comments there what one of your wins was this year in 2021, and, maybe what you're going to do for 2022, because we've got some great plans for all of this and helping you into the next year as well. Tim, you're most welcome, my friend. Tim says it's always cold in Winnipeg. That's why it's thus nicknamed Winterpeg. Garyani, I'm driving since 2 months, but I'm still scared to change lanes. I feel all cars coming to me. Okay, Garyani, maybe what you need to do is you need to get somebody to help you with changing lanes, or you need to get some driving instruction, and all of that may help you with moving from one lane to the other, because I know that for new drivers, it can be challenging to change lanes from one lane to the other, especially when your inclination is to slow down as you're moving from one lane to another, but you have to speed up a little bit as you're moving from one lane to another because you're covering more distance. So I might suggest that maybe you look into a driving lesson where you could just focus on that as well. Corey will put the video up for you on changing lanes, and that'll definitely help you out. David is from Alamosa, Colorado. Awesome. Mallory, hello everyone from cold and chilly Nova Scotia. She got some snow there. I saw it on her Facebook page. Corey's already put up the playlist there for changing lanes. LTA Productions, your plans for 2020 is not to back into other inanimate objects with my bus. That is an excellent goal, not to back into fixed objects for sure. Yummy, absolutely, but that's life. Positive vibes always. Thank you. And Tim, congratulations, David. Yes, all right. David, right, passed my test Tuesday. I want to thank you for all your help and advice in classes. It helped me a lot, and I am a handicapped individual and still smiling from ear to ear. And that is absolutely awesome, David. Congratulations on passing your driver's test. Cannot just love to hear those stories about students passing their driver's test, and you passed in the wintertime, so congratulations on that and overcoming that extra challenge as well, and grabbing that proverbial bull by the horns there and doing that. So that's really, really awesome. So, excuse me, what we're going to do here is I'll do a presentation for about 10 or 12 minutes, give you some tips and strategies for getting through the holiday season, driving safely, getting home to your family. We're not going to have a whole lot of Christmas parties because here in the province of British Columbia, they've canceled all of the New Year's Eve parties. You can go out to a restaurant or a public venue, but you can't dance, you can't mingle, those types of things. So that's what's happening with Christmas parties. I don't know what's happening in your state or province in terms of Christmas parties, but I mean, that's what's happening here in the province of British Columbia with Omicron on the rise. So unfortunately, a bit of a damper here on Christmas holidays. Jerriani, I'm from Dallas, Texas, and it's 79 degrees, which is very nice. It's almost 79, I would say 79, 80 is almost the perfect temperature for, nice weather. So very nice in Dallas, Texas there. Pearson, the way I usually deal with the fear of my gap closing during a lane change is to get it done as quickly as I can. Manage after having double-checked the blind spot. Yes, excellent. Don't dawdle. Pick your spot. Execute without hesitation and get over to the other lane. Yummy, Rick's videos helped me get my license as well almost 3 years ago, and you're still here as a smart driver being more professional. That is absolutely stellar. Absolutely stellar. All right. Just have a bit of a drink there. All right, so getting over to the presentation here. So holiday driving, that's what we're talking about tonight. Driving in the wintertime, driving at the malls when they're kind of crazy. Lots of people there shopping and doing their Christmas holiday shopping and those types of things. People getting what they need to do for their family and friends and whatnot. For those of you who are new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s hauling freight between Canada and the United States. I became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. And then in the early 2000s moved to Australia and went to the University of Melbourne, where I earned a doctorate in legal history, which is a study of policing, courts, and prisons. My expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic, oddly enough. While I was going to university, I drove buses for Greyhound and some of the regional bus lines there as well. And Australia is fond of saying that they founded Greyhound. I never did pursue that, so I'm saying that yes, Australia did found Greyhound bus lines, and it's sorely missed here. A couple of years ago, they stopped running in Western Canada, so we don't have Greyhound here anymore in Western Canada. And in 2011, I started the YouTube channel Smart Drive Test online. The YouTube channel didn't get started until 2016, but the business did start in 2011 in the basement of a church. A friend of mine who's a pastor was having a computer club, and the idea was founded there. So, new video this week, Buy Better Tires. It's an interview with Gary Krieger. He owns Tireland here in Vernon, British Columbia, and gives you some really great information if you are considering getting new tires for your vehicle, because there's lots of factors to consider. Buying tires, a little bit like buying peas. You go to the store and you want to buy peas, and baby peas and pods, baby peas with no salt, baby peas with salt, baby peas that are yellow, all kinds of crazy choices that will just drive you nuts, and tires are no different. There's a different tire for every occasion. You can get fatter tires, meatier tires with more tread on them, high performance tires, low pro tires, winter tires, all season tire, all weather tires. So we give you some of the information about all of that and try and sort some of that out there in that interview with Gary. So have a look at that if you're looking to buy a set of tires for your vehicle. Corey's put the link up there. Thank you for that. So one of the most important factors with Christmas shopping and going out and getting to your destination in the winter time is allowing yourself more time than what it would normally take you. If it takes you 15 minutes to drive to the mall from your place, your home, allow yourself now a half an hour to get there, and then, because you got to get into the parking lot, you got to find a parking space. Usually the parking spaces are not going to be close to the door. You're going to have to park farther away. And in the wintertime in mall parking lots and those types of things, I would encourage you to do that anyway, because there's a lot of activity near the door, a lot of pedestrians walking around and whatnot. And if you can park back in the kind of the back of the lot or farther away from the door, there's going to be less traffic that you're going to have to deal with when you move out of the parking lot. As well, ice and snow, it's unpredictable. I mean, we got a dump of snow here. Mallory got a dump of snow there in the Maritimes. It's not all like Dallas, Texas, where it's a balmy 79 degrees Fahrenheit. Here we're dealing with snow and winter, full-on winter time. So allow yourself time as well, because you're going to be driving slower in the wintertime. You're going to have to brake earlier and those types of things. So the first thing to kind of get in your head, I know that it kind of gets hectic and crazy during the holiday season, but allow yourself a bit more time to get into the stores, to get into the shops, and to, you know, move around and be safe and those types of things, so you're not kind of crazy and whatnot. So parking lots are extremely busy. Allow extra time. Scan vigilantly in the parking lots, because there's lots of children, because they're all on school holidays right now and they're with their parents, or they're, you know, running through the parking lots in front of them because they're all excited because Santa Claus is coming. So look for kids, cover the brake. And the other piece, as I said previously about parking farther away from the door, is that usually you can find a parking space that you can drive through, so you won't have to back into the space. And because there's snow and ice on the roadways, the stalls are not really well marked, so it's going to be easier if you're farther away from the doors to be able to find these spaces and, you know, not be parking like I did in that parking space there, where you're taking up 2 parking spaces and whatnot. And a lot of the bigger trucks, you know, the big jacked up 350 Chevys, they're going to be taking up 2 or 3 spaces, you know, just because that's what they do, is pick up truck drivers. But so it's just easier if you stay farther away from the door and go for a little walk. You know, don't wear your trainers to the parking lot. Make sure you got your winter boots on and those types of things. All right, reversing, go slowly, back in, observation, take note of your surroundings, use your backup cameras. Don't use your backup camera as the only line of sight when you're reversing in a parking lot, but do use it as you would use your mirrors, but make sure that you're doing a 360-degree scan. Make sure that if you're backing up more than one space, that you do stop, do pause, do another 360-degree scan, do another check of your mirrors, do another check of your backup cameras and those types of things. So reversing correctly, go slowly. That way you have time to observe. That way if something goes wrong, you do have time to get on the brakes, get the vehicle stopped and those types of things. And as well, know you're going to be ice and snow. There's going to be a bit of skidding. And if you're going too fast, there's going to be a lot more skidding and you may not get the vehicle stopped. All right, so winter driving. Know that when the temperature is around freezing, 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius, that the roads are going to be more slippery, because you've got ice on the roadway and then you've got a layer of water on top of it, and the layer of water lubricates the ice and makes it more slippery. Roadways are going to be more slippery at intersections, so take note of the outside temperature and note when it's going to be slippery and when it's not going to be slippery. As I said here, we're going to have a cold week this week. It's going to be down around minus 15 degrees Celsius or 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit. When it's that cold, winter tires work their best, because that's what they're designed for, is cold weather. Think of it like ice cubes when you first pull them out of the freezer. They're very sticky because they're still cold, but you let them sit on the counter for 30 seconds a minute and then they become very slippery because the ice is melted and there's a layer of water on the outside of the ice cube. Roadways are exactly the same. And note that bridges and overpasses are going to freeze first, and roadways, if there's ice and snow on the roadway, are going to be slippery at intersections. So start slowing down back from the intersection and then creep up to where you actually want to get stopped. Christmas time, courtesy. Nothing to do with driving here. It doesn't take any time out of your day to be nice. Yes, a few moments to wait for traffic to clear or somebody to get out of a parking space or those types of things. Random acts of kindness. Buy somebody a coffee in a drive-thru. If you're in the drive-thru, buy the person behind you a coffee. Leave the dollar coin or the coin or however much you got to put in the cart to get the cart away from the thing. Leave the coin in it for somebody else. Let somebody else in. Smile at other people. Okay, those types of things. Today I went and had lunch, and I had a pint while I was having lunch, and I was chatting up the gentleman sitting beside me, and I was leaving there at the end of the day, and I just said to the bartender, I said, I'll pick up his tab for his beer as well. So, random act of kindness to a total stranger. This is what Christmas is about. This is what it's, the spirit of giving. And it's not always money. It's, sometimes, for example, in the wintertime where I live here, we have a neighbor, she's elderly, and we go over and shovel her driveway. We shovel our driveway. We have snow on the road or those types of things. I always walk over and make sure that her driveway is shoveled. The whole neighborhood kind of looks after her, but when I get a chance, I do go over and shovel her driveway. So you're going to the store, you've got to the store, you get your big old Christmas present that you've bought, your new big screen telly that you bought for the family for Christmas, load security. How are you going to get that sucker home? Now, if you have your Ford here, your Ford Taurus, and you got your refrigerator and you stick it in the trunk there and you strap it down, that may not be the best idea for load security. The other thing is you might have to suck up here is you might just have to suck up the delivery charge and get them to deliver it for you, because putting it on the roof of your car or those types of things may not just be the best thing to do. So think about how you're going to get these items home that you've purchased at the store and how you're going to get them home safely, that it's not going to impair other people, endanger other people on the roadways and whatnot. Okay? Christmas parties. I know there aren't going to be a whole lot of Christmas parties this year. However, if you are out with your family and those types of things and you're drinking and whatnot, make your decision on how you're going to get a ride home before you start drinking. Because remember, when we start drinking, it's like my mom says, get drunk and be somebody. We think we have way more ability than we actually do once we start imbibing. So think about how you're going to get home before you start drinking. Most companies in this day and age are going to provide cabs and those types of things. If there is a company party, you can take the transit. It's cheap. It's a couple of bucks. You can hire a cab. And, I'll talk a little bit more about this after the presentation. But, think about it. Okay, MAD's contract for life. I do encourage this with new drivers to sign this with your parents or guardians or a friend or somebody else that you trust, that that if you've been out and you've been drinking and, it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you realize you had too much to drink, that you can ring them, you can give them a call, and you can say, hey, come and get me, and they will. Okay? The other thing about Christmas time, this time of year, and unfortunately because of COVID and because a lot of people have been locked up, not all people are doing well. Some people are drinking to take the edge off with all the craziness that's going on in the world. So unfortunately, there are going to be other people who are drinking and driving. There are going to be other people who are taking marijuana and driving. So if you see other vehicles and there's any kind of indication or signs that the other person may not be completely sober, lots of space, do not engage, don't get close to them, and that way you're going to keep yourself and your family members safe. All right? Check out the Facebook Mastermind group. I haven't been promoting this, but it is over at the Facebook page there. You can check that out. Corey will put the link up for us, and sign up for that and join that as well. I do put all the stories up over there as well, or not the stories, rather, the video shorts, the 20-second video shorts that I've been working on here. So good luck on your driver's test. Happy holidays to all the smart drivers. Merry Christmas. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. I've got a big pointer going on over here. I'm not sure what's going on with with my mouse. Okay. And Yemi, as Yemi says, taxi, Uber, or a Lyft. Absolutely. I keep forgetting about Uber because Uber's not here. And actually, Uber was denied in the Okanagan a permit, a contract here. So Uber isn't here. But there are lots of places in North America that Uber does work, and you can get a ride with them. Pearson, bit unrelated, but carrying wobbly, unsecured items can be dangerous. Did that once with a chair I bought as a gift from IKEA on public transport. Would not recommend it if you can avoid it. Yeah, that would be a bit challenging on public transport. And the same thing, Pearson, on that same note, you're not the only one that this has happened to. I had a friend of mine who was bringing home patio furniture in the back of his pickup truck. Of course, they didn't secure it down because it'll be right. And of course, something blew out on the side of the road, and they went back to find it. They never could find it because obviously somebody saw it on the side of the road and picked it up and took it home, because people do that sort of thing. But you know, even if it's in the back of a pickup truck, throw a rope over it so that it doesn't bounce out of the back of the pickup truck. Unfortunately, load securement is one of those things that unfortunately many drivers don't give enough thought to. And you know, the dump is just off the highway up here south of town where I live. And you know, the number of trailers and trucks that I see going into the dump, and they have a load of rubbish on, and you know, they haven't tarped it or they haven't put a strap on it, those types of things, and I just think, oh, awesome. So you know, that's what happens. Unfortunately, it's just part of driving. Okay, and as Tim said, delivery could be cheaper. Absolutely. You know, and the other thing about delivery, as Tim is saying, that it's cheaper is that oftentimes, for example, we'll say you get a refrigerator and they deliver the refrigerator. They're going to take all the wrapping and packaging with them when they leave. They're not going to leave it with you because that stuff's a pain in the butt to get rid of. And, you know, I have a kind of a personal issue with the amount of packaging that comes with new items that you purchase. I bought a cooler in the summertime when we did our road trip across Canada here, and it was a 12-volt cooler. And the amount of packaging that came with it, I mean, I just left it in the shopping cart at Canadian Tire. I mean, I was so disappointed with how much packaging it was. Like, I mean, I can understand, you know, and unfortunately what's driven this is customers who, you know, get a little scratch or ding in it and they go back in and they want a discount. This is, unfortunately, this is what has driven the amount of packaging. So, but going back to what Tim says about cheaper for delivery is that they're going to take all of that packaging with you. And the other thing about refrigerators, you may or may not know this, if you do buy a new refrigerator, maybe not now, maybe 20 years down the road when you buy your first house, you can't plug it in right away. You've got to let it sit for an hour so all of the coolant settles down in the refrigeration system and it works properly. You can't just like throw a refrigerator into a slot and then plug it back in. It's not good for it. You'll burn it out perhaps. Okay, Tim says here in BC, GLP drivers must have 0 blood alcohol. This means none, not a little. Yeah, so new drivers on an N cannot have any alcohol. LTA, you'd be surprised what I've seen brought on the Toronto subway. Still better than an unsecured load. LTA, no, I rode public transit for years and years and years. It wouldn't surprise me at all about what some of the things that people try to get onto public transportation. I actually saw somebody on BC ferries who brought an engine block on, like a big block V8, you know, cast iron. It was on it. They had it on a dolly, but they took it on the ferry with them and they walked on the ferry. They didn't bring it on a truck or anything. So yeah, I can kind of get it. Yummy, they'll take your old fridge too. Yes, they will when the delivery comes. And they'll charge you a small fee for it, but it's well worth the fee because, I mean, you don't have to load the old fridge onto a truck. You just pay them $25. And, you know, for somebody who's a landlord, myself, and has a rental property, when I have one of my appliances fail, if my appliance guy can't fix it, that's exactly what I do and what Yummy has said there, which is absolutely awesome. They'll take the old one away and they'll dispose of it responsibly, right? They'll take it to the right place, which is absolutely awesome. Tim, I watched a new stove slide out of the back of a pickup once. The wife was definitely not impressed. I bet you she wasn't impressed. Sam, hello, my friend Sam. How is New York City? Do you have any snow there yet, Sam? One of the best knots to tie a load down is the trucker's hitch. I made a video of it a while back, and yes, I know which one Sam is talking about. It's absolutely great. It's funny when, you know, you're pretty adept at doing most things in life, and one of the things that challenges me to this day is those stupid ratchet straps. You know, you give me a piece of rope and I can tie you down a load in like 10 minutes. You give me those stupid ratchet straps and you come back a half an hour later and I'm still trying to figure out how to get those dumb things to work. They're my nemesis in life, is those stupid little ratchet straps, which are hilariously funny. I mean, they work exceptionally well when you can get them to work, but they just confound me for some reason. So I usually just use a piece of rope and go from there. Yummy, I've seen a motorcycle and a sofa on the subway. The motorcycle I can see, because that would be fairly easy to roll in onto the subway. But the sofa on the other part, The sofa would be a bit challenging to actually load it onto the car before the car actually took off. So there you go. So again, let me know, because it's Christmas, it's the holidays, next weekend is Christmas Day, next Saturday rather. Let me know, what some of your wins are this year. Did you pass your driver's test? Did you graduate from high school? Did you didn't get COVID, which is great, or you recovered from COVID, which would be great as well. Really awesome. I had an absolutely awesome trip. Sam and I have done a bunch of videos. Corey will put that link up for you on passing a driver's test in New York City, in the Bronx. So we did that. So I had a trip to New York City. Went to a conference on how to do video, how to do YouTube, how to, earn revenue from this business and whatnot. So there's all of that. And so that's been absolutely awesome. And, I've been doing the YouTube shorts every day, trying to help people, give them this little bit of knowledge and get that information out there, and help people out to be safer, smarter drivers. Today's YouTube short was on studded tires and when you should use studded tires. I'm not a huge fan of studded tires, but if the conditions in the video that we talk about, hard pack and ice, did exist and I was driving on a lot of that, then I would definitely put steel studded tires on my vehicle. But otherwise, I find them extremely noisy. There's a lot of road noise from them. So for me, unless I'm driving on hard pack and ice all the time, I'm not going to have steel studded tires on my vehicle. I'm just going to have straight winter tires. Sam says he doesn't have any snow yet, but, probably cold there, I suspect. Life hacks. And Corey's put the videos up that Sam and I did, which is awesome. Let's see, what else we got here? Yemi says we need more people like me, which is awesome. Thank you for the compliment. Tim says driving in heavy slush, especially with rear-wheel drive, can be a challenge. That is absolutely true, especially if you have a rear-wheel drive vehicle. But I don't even think that anybody has rear-wheel drive vehicles anymore. There are, pickup trucks are rear-wheel drive, but it's very easy to switch them into 4x4, 4x4 high, and therefore you're not driving a rear-wheel drive vehicle anymore. So, if it gets slushy or snowy or icy on the roadways, you can quickly put it into four-wheel drive. But most vehicles now are either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and most of them have stability control, which means that they're using the ABS system to detect wheel spin, and they're also detecting traction on the wheels. And as you're going around a corner, if one wheel is beginning to lose traction, they're going to, it's very complicated how this computer system works depending on the model and make of the vehicle, but it will redirect power to one of the other wheels to compensate for that wheel slip on one of the wheels. So this is how all-wheel drive works. That's why all-wheel drive is different than four-wheel drive, because it's not something that's active all the time. It's the computer is always analyzing traction as you're moving down the road. So it's a system that works in real time, and it's determining which wheel needs that power and direction. And actually, on the first generation Honda CR-Vs, the one that I drive, it has real-time four-wheel drive, and that's what it does. It starts to detect wheel spin, and it will redirect power. So Sam says it's 31 degrees Fahrenheit in the city, so it's just 1 degree below freezing. Mallory says even people with wheelchairs can go on subways. Yes, that's one of the great things in the last 25 years is that most public transit is now wheelchair accessible. It's for mobility devices and those types of things, which is really awesome, and it's a move forward for us for sure. Tim says his Tacoma is with two-wheel drive, but it's also, Tim, your Tacoma is also four-wheel drive, is it not? That you can quickly switch it into four-wheel drive high. Anwar, Rick, have you got a woman yet? Yeah, you're funny. Yes, I have a girlfriend, so yes, we're there. And we're gonna drive through the mountains in the wintertime to Calgary, because that's where her parents live. So we're gonna have a go at that. DC, I passed my G this week. Thanks for your videos, DC. You're most welcome, and that is absolutely awesome news that you passed your license this week. Congratulations. where did you go to celebrate, my friend? Yemi, advice when parking on a hill. Okay, so Yemi, it's the 3-in-1 rule. The only one that you have to remember that is not towards the shoulder of the road is uphill with a curb. So up and away like Superman. And that's the only one. Otherwise, it's always towards the shoulder of the road. And even if you forget, and you put it towards the shoulder of the road and it's uphill with a curb, you're not going to lose a lot of points on that. You might lose 5 points, so it's not a big deal. 4-cylinder, 2-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive. Tim, isn't a Tacoma a Chevy? It's a Chevy Tacoma, right? Are these people in the dark ages? I would have never thought that a Tacoma, that there was still a rear-wheel drive vehicle out there. I didn't even know that. That's news to me. That seems old. The car. I'm talking about the car is old. Because I didn't think there were any rear-wheel drive vehicles out there anymore. I thought they were all all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive, or 4-wheel drive vehicles. 2-wheel drive. Interesting. I don't even think you can... Does anybody know, any of the smart drivers here now, or any smart drivers watching on the replay, do you know of any 2-wheel drive pickup trucks that you can still buy? Can you buy a pickup truck that's not 4-wheel drive? I don't know. That's interesting. So Yemi, was that enough on hill parking? Corey will also put the video up for you on hill parking. There's a new video that I did just a few weeks ago on hill parking, so that's there. Lucid, put a ring on it. Lucid, we're getting there. We're working on it. Toyota Tacoma, 2005. Okay, so it's an old Tacoma. Okay, interesting. I thought they were all 4-wheel drive. I learned something all the time here. Right. Why did I think a Tacoma? The guy should know that. Anyway, there's too many cars to keep track of. We were watching the Fast and the Furious last night, and we were trying to figure out what the Mitsubishis were. I can't even keep up with all of them. I remember when it's kind of like the NHL, right? When you were a kid, there were only so many vehicles out there you could keep track of. There was like the big three, and then maybe there was, American Motors, and there was Datsun, and a few other ones. And it was like when I was a kid, and it was like the NHL, there was like the Toronto Maple Leafs, and there was the Chicago Blackhawks, and a few other teams. There was like maybe 12 or 15 teams. Now there's like 40 or 50. You can't even keep track of them all. So there you go. Abigail, how many children do you have? Always watching your vlogs. Abigail, I have 2. I have a boy and a girl. Yeah, we'll just leave it there. Kristen, I passed my test with no mistakes Thursdays, y'all. That is absolutely awesome, Kristen. Congratulations on passing your driver's test. And no mistakes. No mistakes. Absolutely brilliant news. Absolutely brilliant. So, Corey's put up the video for you on hill parking. Kristen, where did you go to celebrate? Pearson, rear-wheel drive is the default. As far as I'm aware, 4-wheel drive is an option which costs more. Same for Dodge and Chrysler sedans. Okay, again, interesting information. I did not know all of this. I didn't even think you could buy a pickup truck that wasn't 4-wheel drive. I didn't even think they made them anymore. But apparently they do. Interesting. Jim, Kristen, where did you take your test? So she wanted to know where you took your test. Awesome. Let's see what else I got here. No, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. That is not working. I wanted to talk about something else. But anyway, there we go. So Jim's preparing for his driver's test in March. Super nervous about that, but you're going to do fine. You're going to do awesome on your driver's test, okay? Yemi, thanks. I parked on hills all the time and secure it with the handbrake. Yes, you do the handbrake, but you also have to turn the steering tires in towards the shoulder of the road, except uphill with a curb. That's the only time you have to turn them out. And then you let the vehicle roll back so the back of the front tires rest on the curb, and that's going to secure it against movement. Most of the time with the vehicle in park, the transmission in park, or with the parking brake on, as long as you've got those two things on, the vehicle isn't going to move. But it's always good to have an extra measure in place on a hill, because you don't want the vehicle careening away, crashing into a tree, and enveloping in a fiery inferno so that you don't have your vehicle anymore. So always good to have those backups when you're parking your vehicle on a hill. Mallory, you're never too old to stop learning. Yes, that is very true, Mallory. I'm always, as I learned all kinds of things about two-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive vehicles. I didn't even think they existed anymore, but apparently there's lots of pickup trucks out there that are still two-wheel drive vehicles, and some older pickup trucks, the old Tacomas, are still two-wheel drive vehicles. I thought maybe they were all four-wheel drive, but they're not, apparently. So there we go. All right, so Christmas. You're watching now, watching on the replay. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know what your wins are for 2021. As I said, I went to New York, did some videos with Sam, met my friend Sam, shot some videos with him as well. The business has done exceptionally well. The YouTube channel has been able to reach and help more people this year. We're just about to turn over 220,000 subscribers, which is just an incredible amount of people that we've been able to help and empower to pass their driver's test and be safer, smarter drivers. But as many of you know, Smart Drive Test is not necessarily a subscriber-based channel. It's more kind of a viewer channel, or a watch channel. It's kind of like a plumbing channel where you go to, your toilet's clogged and you go and watch a video on how to unclog your toilet. Smart Drive Test is kind of like that. Most people, not all people, but I would say about 65 or 70% of people here on the channel are here to get their license, and then once they get their license, they don't hang around. But I think more and more channels are like that on the internet. So it's been interesting kind of over the few years that I've been on YouTube, watching the evolution of YouTube and how YouTube itself has changed, because I look at some of the people who've been incredibly successful on YouTube, and I think, would that work now? And in many cases, I think no, those videos wouldn't work. I mean, even some of the older videos that I have on my channel, I've been working at redoing and reshooting those videos, because, even myself, I watch somebody's video and I'm like, would you just get to the point? Because nobody's going to watch, a 2.5 minute introduction. People don't really, it was like the other day, I was trying to watch a video on how to get the fuse thing open on the Christmas lights. I finally realized they were just cheap ass Christmas lights that I had that I was trying to fix, and you couldn't actually get the cover open. But 6 or 7 of the videos that I was watching were like, blah, 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 Christmas, putting up Christmas tree, went and found my Christmas lights. It's like, I don't care. Just show me how to get the thing open. And it's the same thing now. It's like, you can't, my introductions are 20 seconds. They're less than 20 seconds. And then I am right into teaching, I'm teaching hill parking. For example, the original hill parking video that I shot 3 or 4 years ago was 15 minutes. I reshot it, and it was less than 5 minutes. So those older videos that, went on for 15 minutes, those videos, they just will not work anymore. All right. Anwar, yesterday the TTC bus I was on collided with another bus in front of him at a traffic light. It was snowing in Toronto yesterday. I have a head concussion. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that, Anwar. So the driver on the TTC bus doesn't sound like it had a whole lot of experience, which is unfortunate. But I'm glad that it's just a concussion and there really isn't anything more than that. So, yeah. Yemi, yes, my boyfriend tells me to turn the wheels as well to prevent any rolling. Yes, that's right. Excellent. Pearson, speaking of shifting into park, I was advised that the handbrake must be applied first, even if my foot is holding the brake. Is it true that I might damage the transmission if I slip up on the order? Yes, Pearson. So you want to hold the foot brake. So the vehicle stopped. You got your foot on the foot brake. Apply the parking brake and then put the transmission into park. That is the correct order to do that, because there's a pin in the transmission that holds it and locks it out. And you're right. It is very difficult. It is hard on the transmission. So you do want to apply the parking brake first while you're holding the foot brake, and then put the thing into park. Okay. Tim, you had to buy a V6 to get four-wheel drive when I bought the truck. Wanted paved road economy. Okay, there you go. And a standard transmission. So you got a standard transmission with good economy on the road there. Excellent. Evan, If a vehicle drives in your blind area for too long, slow down. Yes. Lamb Sauce, got any goofy BGG story? Yes, I do. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, coach, our usual coach, has been sick this week because unfortunately, he's been sick. So, some of the black belts have been taking over. So, we have Mad Monkey Kyle. We call him Mad Monkey. He's Kyle. And Kyle is a small guy. Kyle weighs like 140 pounds. So, one of the things I always say is if you want to learn to be better in your technique, learn from a small person who's doing martial arts. And so came in and it was very technical and it was, we were learning this stuff and it was really awesome. Lamb Sauce, did you know I got promoted to blue belt a couple of weeks ago, which was really, another success in my year, which is absolutely awesome. So we're doing all of this technical stuff, but then he showed us this thing where the person's coming around, the person's passing, and you stick their knee into their hip, and then you grab their gi and push away from them. And so he was showing this, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then in a live roll, I was actually able to do this. So this was the first time. So, you're kind of it in a bit when you're doing jiu-jitsu, and you do the training, and you learn the technique, and then you're actually able to pull the technique off in live rolling. And so that's what happened. I was able to actually pull the technique off in live training, and I thought, oh, yeah. So that was my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu story this week. Dad, hi Rick, I just passed my test last week and life has been so much better. Awesome. Because of the convenience of having my license. Thank you for all your videos and you are most welcome. And please stay alive. Don't be dead like your username there. So that is absolutely excellent news. And where did you go to celebrate passing your driver's test? Because it just sounds like, the empowerment of having your license and being able to drive. There's absolutely no doubt about it. It's an incredible sense of power and whatnot. So, yeah, Lamb Sauce. Yep. And thanks for that. Congratulations. Yes, Tim, have a great night, my friend. Enjoy dinner. And remember, oven mitts. Wear your oven mitts. Yummy. Ricky, any advice for night driving? I have issues with the glare from the lights. Do night vision glasses work? Yummy, some people do say they work. Personally, for me, they don't really work. But you can give them a try for sure and see what you like and whether you can or not. Mostly what you're going to do is you're going to get glare from that center mirror. And remember, you flick that switch underneath there, and that will help you out with the glare and whatnot when you're driving. Evan, driving TV videos on responding incorrectly to traffic lights says that you'll fail the test for stopping behind the stop line rather than the middle. Does that only apply to the UK? Fail the test for stopping behind the stop line rather than the middle. Evan, are you talking about the stopping position when you're waiting to make a left turn at a stoplight intersection? Is that what you're asking me? Because I'm not following what you're asking me there. Okay, and Yemi, Corey will put the video for you on night driving as well, and that'll help you out to deal with the glare and those types of things. And if you are getting a lot of glare and you're getting bright lights from the oncoming traffic and whatnot, be looking down at the fog line along the edge of the road, or looking at the concrete barrier, looking for traffic signs along the roadway and those types of things. Any kind of landmarks that can help you to figure out where the road is in the dark. And, following other traffic, of course, because other traffic, for the most part, at least we hope, is going to be driving on the roadway. So, those are all the things that you can do, the strategies and skills that you can put in place to be able to keep yourself safe and to be able to drive at night. Lamb Sauce, what got me into training jiu-jitsu? Lamb Sauce, well, I'm a second degree black belt in karate, and I had trained years ago. And then, life got crazy, bought a house, had children, got married, tried to start a business and those types of things. And so I hadn't trained for a lot of years. And then, I had been to this club once a long time ago, 5 or 6 years ago when I first moved here. And then I went back and, really good club, really good sense of community, tight-knit people. And, it was 3 or 4 years ago I started training. I actually didn't think I was going to be able to keep training because my back went out there about a year ago. But my back healed and I was able to go back and continue training, and now I train 3 or 4 times a week. And it's, you know, exercise. I'm here for the butt whoopings because I usually get my butt kicked. And, you know, it's just a really good sense of community of people who train jiu-jitsu. And, you know, I kind of fit into the martial arts scene. It's kind of my thing. So that's what got me into training jiu-jitsu. And I also think that if you're teaching other people, you know, whatever your expertise is, whatever your specialty is, that you yourself should be learning something. And oftentimes I do counsel people that if they're going to teach others, learn something that's completely outside of what you're teaching. So for example, you know, if I'm teaching driver education and how to be a safer, smarter driver on the roadways, I wouldn't want to go and learn how to be an auto mechanic, for example. You want to learn, you know, want to be something completely outside that challenges your brain. You want to be learning another language, or you want to be doing martial arts or sports or those types of things. So that's very much what I encourage people to do who are going to be teaching other people. And the other thing is you know, I think it makes you a better person kind of all around, because, you know, you're learning something that's completely different to anything that you would otherwise encounter or encourage. And, you know, I meet all kinds of people who do martial arts who are, you know, and some of them, you know, are working blue collar jobs, or driving truck, or they're doing something else, or those types of things. It's just the interesting thing about martial arts is there's so many different kinds of people from all walks of society who come together as a community and, you know, share that blood, sweat, and tears kind of thing, because it is very much a journey about building a better person. Because the interesting part is that a lot of people think that martial arts is about learning how to fight, when it's very much the exact opposite. Most good clubs, good martial arts centers are about building a person and making a person better. And I know for a fact that I have become a much better person because of my martial arts training, both karate and because of jiu-jitsu. So that's it in kind of a nutshell there. Dad, how to deal with tailgaters sometimes in inclement weather like snowstorms. It's very nerve-wracking because I can't apply the brakes like I normally would in the snow. Dad, there's a couple of things you can do. One of the things you can do is just kind of tap the brake pedal and flash the brake lights. Usually when you flash the brake lights, that usually kind of freaks people out who are behind you, and they will stop tailgating you. The other thing to do is to increase the space in front of you, between you and other vehicles, because then that way now you can drive your vehicle and you can drive the vehicle of the person behind you who's tailgating you. And this has been kind of an interesting question that I've been reading a couple of books here, actually next to my desk. Some of these you might have heard of. Traffic by Tom Vanderbilt, Why We Drive the Way We Do. You may have seen that one. And this one, Why We Drive, Towards a Philosophy of the Open Road, Matthew Crawford. I actually like this one. The actual the philosophy gets a little deep in this one, but there are a couple of pieces in both of these texts that address that problem of tailgating, which I find interesting, because it's one of the things that I've been trying to get my head around of late, is how do we stop people tailgating? How do we get people to stop following too close? And both of these texts talk about the fact that we drive nose to tail. So we're sitting in the front of the vehicle and we're behind looking at the taillights of other people, as well as limited communication. We're using some, you know, rudimentary lights and those types of things to indicate direction and whatnot. So innately, we don't like being behind, because, you know, back in caveman Neanderthal days, if we were behind the person in front of us, that meant we weren't going to eat, right? We didn't get the food. So the question I'm kind of asking myself right now is, does that translate into driving? That somehow we have to be first. So we're going to tailgate other people, because driving is retaliatory, right? The person tailgates you because they think that you're driving too slow. And if they get right up behind you, then that's going to force you to speed up because you're driving too slow, because that's what they're essentially telling you when they're tailgating you. So there's some strategies and techniques that you can put into place, But the reality is people are still going to tailgate you when you're driving. And basically you have to put enough space in front of your vehicle so you have a buffer of space. So you have some room to work and maneuver, and that you're not going to be slamming on the brakes or doing aggressive turning or those types of things, and causing that person potentially behind you to crash into the back of you. And as well, think about the fact that when you're tailgating somebody else, and we're all guilty of this. I don't do it as a rule, but every now and again I kind of lose my my logical thinking brain, and somebody's driving really slow and I pull up behind and I'm like, oh, what am I doing? Get off their back. But the thing is that we're hoping on a wing and a prayer that if that person in front of us jams on the brakes or does something aggressive, that we're going to be able to get our vehicle stopped in time, that we're going to be able to react in time, when in many cases we're not going to be. So try to have that 2 to 3 second following distance in front of you, especially as Ded said, that you're tailgating other people and it freaks out other people. So let's all try harder not to do that and try to maintain that 2 to 3 second space. And this is kind of what I'm trying to work on in my head right now, is how do we stop people from doing that, from tailgating? How do we stop me from doing that when I fall off the wagon every now and again? Because it does happen. Lamb Sauce, have I written a book yet? I'm working on a book. And that's what 2022 is going to bring. I'm trying to bring on some staff, video editors, and I've already hired virtual assistants, people to help me out with the business and those types of things, because there's only so many things you can do, and the business gets to a size that you can't do it all anymore. So once I get those people onboarded, and should be January, then I can get back to the book. I've already started it. I just need to be sitting down every day for a couple of hours and actually working on writing it. So yes, we are doing that. Mallory, the past year I've been growing my YouTube channel, so my goal for 2022 is to continue growing my YouTube channel. And Mallory, that is absolutely awesome. Congratulations on that goal. It's challenging and lots of fun, and there's, as you said, lots to learn in terms of building a YouTube channel for sure. Homie, Merry Christmas, Rick. I'm Tyler from Sweet Home, Oregon. Any techniques on driving and judging gap when partially blind in one eye due to problems with depth perception? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is self-discipline, and that is absolutely true about that. Techniques driving. Okay, so Tyler, one of the things you want to do is, if you do have vision impairment and you're driving with one eye, is first of all, you're not going to have depth perception, so you're going to have difficulty judging how far away fixed objects are and other traffic. So you're going to have to be vigilant in maintaining that kind of 3 to 4 second following distance when you're driving. The other piece, because of your vision impairment, is you're going to have to be looking for larger landmarks. So the utility poles along the roads, trees and those types of things, houses and whatnot, all of that's going to give you clues about where the roadway is and that you're on the roadway, where the traffic is and whatnot. And have a look at the video with Jen. Corey will put that up for you on driving blind, and there's some information in there as well with a video I did with her that will help you out to drive with low vision. And anybody else who's driving with low vision, definitely there are many resources. It might take you a bit of work, and if you need those resources, send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest. I'd be more than happy to help you out and get you some help with optometrists, people who do driver rehabilitation, any modifications you might need, or glasses or those types of things. Definitely get you on the road to driving and driving safely with not just low vision, but any other kind of physical impairment that might, it's something that can be overcome, and it's definitely shouldn't be something that's going to limit your ability to drive. Dead. Dad, thank you so much. I'm happy that we can help you out. Tyler, my mom told me not to worry about the people behind. They can go have their crash somewhere else. And that your mom is a very smart woman, because she says exactly what I say. Tell them to go and have their crash somewhere else. But again, do make sure that you have extra space in front, because like I said, you're now driving your vehicle and you're driving the vehicle behind you as well, of that goofy person who's insisting on tailgating you and trying to tell you something that you may or may not be hearing. Okay? David, play want to look for a car for him, something that he couldn't forward. Okay, didn't get all that. But anyway, Epic, my friend. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. And will this help since my younger brother, who was a high school learner driver, got involved in a crash inside a parking lot? Should he get driving school first, then the parents? Okay, so Epic, that's a really good question about whether you should have driver education. And I always encourage, not because I'm a driving instructor, but because there's so much bureaucracy and there's so many details about learning to drive a car now with the GDL program, that I always encourage new drivers to take 1 or 2 lessons with a driving instructor. And then the other thing with taking lessons with a driving instructor, the way that these driving instruction lessons are designed is that you take a lesson and then you work with your parents on 3 or 4 lessons and you work on what you learned with the driving instructor. And then you go back and you take another lesson and then you go up for 4 or 5 times with your parents. That's ideally the way that driving instruction lessons are set up. It's not always the way that it happens. Unfortunately, some parents just kind of drop their kids off with driving instructors and expect to have a fully licensed driver come out the other end. But that's not the way it works, because it takes time to learn how to drive. It takes time to get the skills and abilities in place to be able to pass your driver's test. So, and there's no replacement for the amount of time and experience that you need to be able to drive safe, to drive well. And it's hard to say what happened with the parking lot incident, with the accident. Somebody might have pulled out, or somebody just missed something, or something happened. It's difficult for me to comment on that because I wasn't there, but it does happen. And whether driving instruction, any instruction is going to help and make you a better driver, but it may or may not put in place the skills and strategies you need to avoid being in a fender bender in a parking lot. We'll have a tendency of turning too quick and hitting a parked car. My brother did that. Okay, so it sounds like, Epic, where your brother was beyond his ability in the vehicle, and it sounded like he should have worked with the pylons in the parking lot first, because he's not very aware of steering, the throttle, the brake, those good abilities with the primary control. So it sounds like he needs to kind of take a step back and then work on that, and then that'll help with what you're talking about there. Rock City, happy holidays, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Not late to the party, always here. We still got a couple of minutes left, but you're here, and happy holidays to you, my friend. All the very best. Lamb Sauce, do you have videos? I have a couple of videos on buying a first car if you're buying secondhand, but I should really try and make a better series on buying your first car. But Lamb Sauce, what I would suggest to you in terms of buying a first car, and I suggest this to all new drivers, is to try and come up with the money where you can buy a vehicle outright and buy an older vehicle. That way the insurance isn't going to be as expensive, because if you buy a brand new vehicle or you finance a vehicle, you're going to have collision on your insurance. And as soon as you put collision on your insurance doubles. So here's what basic overview of insurance, car insurance. Public liability and property damage. Those are the 2 basic insurances that you have to have on the vehicle. So public liability is if you injure somebody or you kill somebody and the family sues you, that's going to pay out money for that claim. Property damage is you drive into somebody else's car, it pays to fix that car. So that's the basic insurance you have to have on a vehicle. Then there's fire and theft. Fire and theft isn't overwhelming, so you can put that on your vehicle. And then there's collision. Collision pays to have your vehicle fixed in the event that you have a crash. So for example, you drive down the road, you fall asleep at the wheel, and you run into a utility pole and write the vehicle off. That's what collision will pay for. So if you have financing on the vehicle, the financial institution will demand that you have collision on the insurance. So say, for example, that you buy your first vehicle, your insurance is $2,000 a year for property damage and public liability, which is the basic insurance you have to have. Then you put collision on it. Now your insurance is $4,000 a year because you have financing on that vehicle. So what I recommend for new drivers is to buy an older vehicle, buy it outright. If you can come up with the $3,000 or $4,000 or however much that vehicle costs, and you don't have to finance it, then you're going to save money over the long term in terms of the amount of insurance. And Corey will put up, there's a couple of videos here on buying an older vehicle and how to do that. And if you have any questions, again, send me an email rick@smartdrivetest.com. Corey's actually I see it there. How to buy a used vehicle from a private seller. Caleb, blessings to you, Rick. Thanks for all your lessons this year. All the best for 2022. Thank you, my friend. Rock City, maybe driving schools oversell their services, making it seem like driving instructors are magicians. Rock City, you may be right, because we're not magicians. There's only so much we can do in the very limited amount of time that we have with somebody in the vehicle. And you know, there are so many things that driving instructors don't teach you. For example, driving at night. Most driving lessons happen in the daytime. Driving in the wintertime. If you learn how to drive in the summertime, we're certainly not going to be able to teach you the skills about driving in the wintertime. As well, driving in rain. We may never ever get to that situation where we're actually driving in a rainstorm and giving you those skills and abilities. So there's a lot of things that experience and time are going to teach you about driving that you're probably not going to experience or have the luxury of learning that with a driving instructor. You're absolutely right. David, play with to... Okay. DC, buy a scan tool also before you buying a used vehicle. Learn from Scotty. Yes, lots of good information there for sure. Mallory, even though I have no vision, I try and do a shoulder check from the passenger seat. Thanks for your channel. I have become a smarter passenger. And Merry Christmas to everyone. And Merry Christmas and all the best to you and your family for the holidays, Mallory. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here this year. And we hope to see more of you next year for sure. Rock City, you know this is Goose. Oh, Goose. You're throwing me, my friend. It's there we go. Crystal, have a good night, Rick. And have a good night for you as well. And Goose, yeah, you just threw me. Thanks for the reminder, my friend. Okay. We will see you next week for Boxing Week. The week after, there won't be a live stream. But Boxing Day, we will do a live stream. I'm going to take some time off and go to Calgary and drive through the mountains in the wintertime, which should be tons of fun. All the best. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Congratulations to all the smart drivers that passed their driver's test in the last week or so. Good luck to those of you who have driving tests coming up between Christmas and New Year's. And we'll see you through the week. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now.